يا منان يا حنان ربي يا غفار يا قهار يا ستار يا الله. In the morning, in the evening, in everything I do, times of hardship, times of ease, I only turn to you. Every teardrop, every breath, I know that it's from you. All my life and even my death, I dedicate to you. Oh Allah, your blessings are so many, they're too many to count. Oh my Lord, as much as I praise you, I can't thank you enough. Oh Allah, your blessings are so many, they're too many to count. Oh my Lord, as much as I praise you, I can't thank you enough. Allah. ربي يا كريم يا رحيم يا حليم ربي يا غفور يا صبور يا شكور ربي يا رحمن يا منان يا حنان ربي يا غفار يا قهار يا ستار يا الله. You are Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Sister Circle Live on Ramadan Live, CVFM 104.5. I'm your co-host for today's show, along with my other co-host, Sister Julie. Assalamu alaikum, Julie.
Walaikum salam. You all right?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Apologies for the late start to everybody in the studio and out the studio. But we're here now and we are here until 4 o'clock every Sunday from 2 to 4 during this Ramadan. And last week we talked about the history of the 12 Islamic months.
We did.
But today's show, we're going to come right up to modern day times and we're going to talk about Islam here and now.
Yeah.
So we did history last week and we're going to do some modern day stuff, inshallah, this week. As always, anything that we say that is of good and of benefit is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and any mistakes or human imperfection that we make is from ourselves. Please forgive us for that before we start. So in modern times, right here, right now, we live in a very multicultural, diverse country here in the UK.
We do indeed, yes.
And obviously we have so many nationalities, so many people with origins from all around the world, including here as well. And with that comes religions from all over the world.
Indeed.
And we kind of always seem to know the main religions that exist, such as Islam, Christianity, Hinduism, Sikhism, and stuff like that. But there are also lots of other smaller religions that go on that we might not notice or even know exist in our locality as well. And this kind of, brings our attention really to when we understand each other, when we don't have fear for each other, we all get on so much better.
Absolutely, yes.
But when we don't understand each other, it can lead to a fear. And when we're scared of something, we stay away from something.
That's right, yeah.
Because we don't understand it. And quite often, some of our differences in society, some of the barriers that exist in society, just come down to not understanding each other.
Yeah, absolutely. They're not really barriers at all. They're just things that need to be understood.
Differences. And differences are what make the world go round, as they say.
Yeah.
It's good to be different. It would be a very boring planet if we were all the same.
It would be.
And, even within Islam, even as individual Muslims, we practice our Islam with differences. We have, because not that our Islam is different, but we have different strengths and weaknesses. So we can focus on different areas, or we might try and improve different areas than what the person next door is doing. So even within Islam, we are different. So if we have different religions, imagine a street, in one house there's a Christian, one house there's a Muslim, one house there's a Hindu, one house there's a Sikh, and so on.
Yeah.
The differences are going to be bigger, but it doesn't mean as people that we can't share in what each other is doing, that we can't support each other as human beings.
Yeah, like mutual humanity, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, one of the ways of kind of bringing these kind of barriers down and helping us to not have a fear of each other, but to have a love for each other instead,
is to actually tell people what we're doing and why we're doing it and who we are.
Yeah.
You know, hello, I'm Amanah, I'm a Muslim, and right now I'm participating in something called Ramadan. It needs to be that simple.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people might be afraid. Why they're not eating? How long do they not eat for? Is it a whole month and they're not going to starve to death?
Yeah.
What are they doing? What's happening? Why are their lights going on at 3 o'clock every morning?
Can they not sleep?
Why when I knock on the door at 9 o'clock is all the lights off and the blinds are shut? Why is nobody awake? It's morning time for people that are having a lie-in. Why are we seeing people delivering food to the door like all night long? Is somebody inside sick? Is somebody inside unwell? What's happening? And to us, it's normal because that's what we do year in, year out. But to an observer, who you may be the only Muslim in the street or their first Muslim neighbor, it might seem quite odd.
I suppose, yeah.
But not even in the street, even in a workplace, in a school. There are some schools in the area that are very, very diverse, very mixed, and they have children from all walks of life, all backgrounds, and all religions. There are other schools, such as maybe it's the Church of England schools, or maybe it's the Catholic schools that maybe have a very, very minority amount of other religions within their school. So obviously they're going to come into contact a lot less with people of other faiths. Which in turn would mean perhaps their knowledge isn't there either. And it's not really somebody else's job to learn about us.
No, true. It's So it's our job, isn't it, to promote or remove the misconceptions that are around, what we're up to, what we do.
Definitely. We need to, our religion is so beautiful, mashallah, that why would we not want to share it? There's Islam says to want for your sister what you want for yourself. So if we have religion for ourselves, why would we not want to share it with as many people as possible? And by sharing it, I don't mean, telling them I'm a Muslim, you have to be a Muslim as well. Otherwise, wonderful that would be. It literally is kind of, this is what I do and why I do it. And it's rather lovely. And I would just like you to know how lovely it is. Because there's so much propaganda on the media.
There's a lot of negative stuff around, isn't there?
It takes one person who happens to be a Muslim to make a mistake, and we all get branded with the same brush, which is obviously not how we are as an ummah, not how as we are as a collective community. We do a lot of good in the community. We do a lot of fundraising. We constantly, especially in Ramadan as well, so many people donate, and wells are built, mosques are built, people who have no food are given food, people without shelter are given shelter. Syria and Turkey are huge on people's minds at the moment with the recent earthquakes. So the Muslims are doing so much good, but it literally takes that one person to make a mistake, and suddenly we're all
suddenly, like,
potential
Muslims
terrorists.
are all like this,
Potential like, someone to fear.
And the thing is, it's like that is the power of the negative power of the media, isn't it? That it's where people choose to point their media spotlight as to what gets the airtime. So they're not pointing their media spotlight on what the Muslim community does during Ramadan, or the rest of the year as well, but particularly during Ramadan. What how much care the community has for the people, the Muslim people that maybe need some help during Ramadan, but also everybody, anyone who was afflicted by disasters in the world. But yeah, it's the media chooses where they point that spotlight, and if it's somebody who's clearly doing something that is a mistake, but the kind of going like, this is what the Muslims are like. And then everyone kind of sucks that up, don't they? Because bad news is always much more interesting than good news, isn't it?
It is that whole the drama of something. It makes it more interesting than when somebody's done something good.
It takes a lot more effort to promote a good message than it does a negative message. So that's how much effort we need to put in, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So today we're going to talk about what's happening in our area, in our local area of Teesside, that as Muslims we can say that we are proud about what we have done perhaps with our neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's conversations we have had with our schools.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's conversations we've had with our colleagues at work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or even more so interestingly, more so importantly, what they have done for us.
Yeah.
Because Islam is growing, and
Mhm.
because the Muslims are talking about their religion so much more than maybe is what they did 10,
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago.
Mhm.
And Muslims are coming forward now
Mhm.
in schools, in workplaces, and saying, literally, you know, this is my name and I'm a
Yeah.
Muslim and this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
On this day and that day, I'm going to have Eid. On this day, I'm going to have Ramadan.
Mhm.
I may look a little bit different because I may have a beard, or I may wear hijab, or I may cover more than other members of staff. This type of thing. This is happening a lot more now
Mhm.
than what it did, like I said, 10, 20, 30 years ago, when Muslims were a bit more shy about their
Yeah.
religion.
Mhm.
And we're coming forward, which opens the door to workplaces and schools and colleges to say, okay, what do you need?
Mhm.
How can we make it better for you?
Yeah.
How can we make you more comfortable? And this isn't just an Islamic thing.
Mhm.
People are doing this to people of other religions, of
Yeah.
disabilities, for example. You know, if somebody needs a wheelchair access and a member of staff has a disability, and then that they need to use a wheelchair, the employer may put special measures in place to make access for that wheelchair more possible, more comfortable, to make the member of staff feel more comfortable and inclusive. So I think it is only rightly fair that this happens to us as Muslims as well, when so many other religions, people, issues are being catered for. But we have to appreciate it.
Yes.
And we have to say thank you to the organisations that are doing it, because the bottom line is they don't have to.
No, this is true. But I think also that the people do like to help where help is required, so or help is needed. You know, as you said, you kind of gave the example of, you know, someone who needs wheelchair access or some accessibility. But certainly in my experience, obviously I haven't been Muslim that long, so it's about 13 years now. But you know, if you're at a conference or something and I needed a place to pray, the people that were like on reception in the hotel, or you know, would be, if you ask them, they are more than happy to provide a place to pray. But you just need to ask that. But they fall over themselves to actually help out. You know, they don't not care. They're just very helpful. But it's that you just need to open your mouth
forward.
and ask. Yes, but you'd obviously be, you know, demanding, not be demanding, but just to ask. You know, is there a possibility that, you know, there might be a place to pray, because, you know, you've made me check out at midday and I need to pray at like 1 o'clock and what have you.
I definitely have to comment, just kind of come back on what you're saying there, because when I first became a Muslim, many moons ago, and if I was traveling around the UK, I would never think to find somewhere to stop and pray. It just wasn't in my thoughts to approach anywhere, because it was, I don't know, it was quite a scary thing to try and maybe approach somebody and say, excuse me, could you provide me with something? But like I say, because of how Islam is growing now, and the positivity that we're having on our communities and our country as a whole, people are becoming more open and more accepting. And in the last probably about the last 5 years, I have to say, and I hope this benefits anybody who likes to travel around the UK as well, that whenever I've traveled for days out with myself and my husband and my children, and we've been to museums, art galleries, shopping centres, you know, just random days out as you do with the family, and I've never been to somewhere that hasn't catered for us for a place to pray yet.
Wow,
not one. And these aren't Muslim attractions that we've gone to.
Yeah.
For example, we went to the Royal Armouries in Leeds.
Oh yeah.
And we said to them, you know, would you possibly, obviously we're miles away from home, and it was during winter as well, so we were literally going to miss 3 of the prayers if we couldn't find somewhere. And I know there are mosques nearby, but we were in the museum. It's not practical to keep popping in and out of one place to another. And I went to a member of staff and I said, do you possibly have a prayer room? The member of staff said, unfortunately, no, we don't. I said, do you possibly have a quiet room that we could use as a room and we could pray in? And yes, of course, absolutely, no problem. Let me just check which room's available. They checked on their board, found a room, walked us to the room, left us in the room and said, just let us know when you come out and we will lock that room back up.
Very good.
Completely so helpful. Like yourself, we had a hotel and we needed to leave early and we were going to miss prayer time. So again, we said, okay, we will check out, but do you have a place we could pray before we leave? That was catered for, no problem. I'm trying to think where else we've been.
Well,
the Metro Centre, well known by people on Teesside, you know, a massive indoor shopping centre. You know, that was a bit difficult to find, I have to admit, because
it is a bit
not all the staff knew
about
it.
A quiet bit,
but it's near the bus station, and again, it's labelled as a quiet room. But when you go in that quiet room, there's lots of prayer mats, there's wudu facilities, the prayer direction is clearly marked. There are Qurans readily available. And I have to say, I've been in prayer rooms up and down the country and quiet rooms that we've used as prayer rooms. We've been in the Hancock, is it what's it called? The big ones in London, the Tate Museum, the Science Museum in London.
Natural history.
Very kind of sparse, empty,
museum,
empty rooms with nothing in, not even a prayer mat, literally just an empty room. But still, we had prayer mats with us, and we were able to pray, no problem. At least they had a room to pray. But the best prayer room I've been to personally has to be in the Trinity Centre in Leeds.
Oh, right, yeah.
So they have a big shopping centre. They have many shopping centres in Leeds. One of them is called the Trinity Centre.
One of the newer ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had this prayer room. It's the busiest prayer room I have ever seen. Literally, you're queuing to get in. And not just at the azan times, just in and out, in and out, in and out. They have so many prayer mats. Again, they have wudu facilities. They are right next to the public toilets, but they also have prayer facilities. Wudu facilities, and they also have spare hijabs, full-on abayas if people want to cover a bit more. And it was amazing. It's only a small room, but it was super busy. And I just thought, wow, you felt really good going in there because so many people wanted to use it. So again, this is a sign of things changing. And some people these days have space for prayer at work and space for prayer in schools as well, which is really, really good. It shows, alhamdulillah, that, and it's just down to communication. We as Muslims need to communicate with our employer,
if you ask
with our
for things
schools.
Enough, then people will go like, oh, I think we need to provide this.
And they in turn will reply to us.
Yeah, I suppose there's now prayer facilities in, what do they call them? Motorway services.
Yes.
Yeah. Things like that, and they've even got signs in airports now, isn't it? The wudu this way and what have you. So it's great. Absolutely
even local
great.
airports like Newcastle Airport, they have the prayer room as well on the first floor. You just, if you're flying, you just have to pray before your flight because it's after, once you go through the check-in, you can't access the prayer room.
It's like landside, not airside.
Yes, it's where the check-in desks are. You'll find that in most airports. Actually, a lot of the prayer rooms tend to be at the initial entrances to the airports and not deeper into the airports. So you have to pray when you arrive at the airport, not once you kind of checked in and you think, right.
You go to pray in a quiet corner, I suppose.
Well, trying to find a quiet airport in the airport these days when they're so in demand for holidays. But anyway, let's not talk about holidays. Let's stick on Ramadan. So we have three special guests in the studio. So what we will do, they've come in today, inshallah, to talk to us about their experiences at work and at school and how it's been possible to actually have Ramadan enter their workplaces and their schools. So inshallah, we will be talking to our special guests after this very short ad break, but please do stay tuned and we will continue to talk about, and I also have a massive list of messages to read out from parents in the local area telling us how fantastic their colleagues or their neighbors or their schools have been this Ramadan as well. So it's such a positive show, inshallah, with lots of good news this Ramadan. Excellent. So please stay tuned and we will be with you shortly, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
104.5 CVFM.
Do you have a vacancy to fill right now? Because right now at Job Centre Plus, we have thousands of people ready to work for your business. Right now across the country, Our work coaches are helping thousands of employers connect with the people they need. So right now, you could be speaking to a named employer advisor and matching a candidate to one of your vacancies. Speed up your recruitment at gov.uk/way-to-work.
Time for a change? Looking for that home improvement? Borough Carpets has you covered. We offer a wide range of luxurious carpets, vinyls and laminates. We offer a free fitting and underlay included to give you the great quality at affordable prices. We cater for lots of different preferences, whether you want that perfect soft touch carpet for your new home, need to freshen up your rental property, or even a change in the office. We also provide free measurements before you book your fitting for accuracy and to discuss exactly what you're looking for. Call us on 01642 688 786 or to see our variety of amazing samples, pop down to our Middlesbrough showroom located at 131 to 133 Park Lane.
Over 5 million homes are at risk of flooding, yet many people don't realise they're in danger. Even if you've never been flooded before, it can happen to you. Protect your family and home. Prepare, act, survive. Prepare a bag including medicines and insurance documents. Act by moving important items upstairs or as high as possible. Survive by listening to emergency services. Search what to do in a flood and sign up to flood warnings on gov.uk.
Ali's Superstore, the talk of the town.
Ali's Superstore, probably the largest international food store in the Northeast, stocking a big variety of products at unbeatable prices. Visit us for all your herbs and spices, exotic fruit and veg, savoury and sweet snacks, and frozen foods. Oh, did we mention that we also have an in-house butcher's department? Ali's Superstore is currently offering 10% discount across all products for NHS staff, critical care workers, and students on presenting of a valid ID. Ample free parking available for your convenience. Local delivery service also available on orders over £50.
Ali's Superstore, located in Linthorpe Village. Visit us today at 436 Linthorpe Road, Middlesbrough. Telephone 01642 134 866. 01642 134 866. Ali's Superstore, your local international food store.
Harry next door is amazing. 79 and he's got a tool for everything. He cooks a cracking Sunday dinner for himself and he plays a mean game of cribbage. These days, there's only one thing he's not so good at, remembering to test his smoke alarms. So I go around and do it, while Harry finds the right screwdriver I've never got.
If you know an older person, please test their smoke alarms regularly. It could save their independence, and a lot more besides. Fire kills. You can prevent it.
It's amazing what a difference small, simple changes can make, especially when it comes to your weight. Getting started is easier than you think with the free NHS Weight Loss app. It helps you to take those simple steps to lose those extra pounds. Download the free app today. Better health. Let's do this.
This is your local community station, CVFM Radio.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Ramadan Live. This is Sister Circle. We are with you until 4 o'clock, inshallah. Myself, Sister Amanah, and my co-host, Sister Julie. And today we are talking about Islam in the workplace and in local schools and how you can take your Islam into those places, but also what those places can do to make you practicing your Islam easier as well. So we have some special guests in the studio joining us to talk about their experiences and what they have been doing locally as well. And I have lots of messages that I'm going to read out actually throughout the course of the show. But what I'd like to say is anybody who is listening, if you have a positive experience with your neighbor or with your children's school or with your place of work where you have been able to go in and sort of tell them about Ramadan a little bit, or they've been able to acknowledge your Ramadan a little bit, we'd really love to hear from you. And you can get in touch by our Facebook page. If you leave us a message on there, we will read that message out on air. And we would just really love to hear about how well your place of work or your school has been helping you with your Ramadan or allowed you to help them understand your Ramadan better. So our special guests today are from Outwood Academy in Acklam, Middlesbrough. And I have with us in the studio, we have, I don't know whether to call you Miss or Sister. So we have Mrs. Rashid and also Sister Shabana, who's the same person. And then we have Sister Wahida as well. So Sister Shabana is from the IT department, and Sister Wahida is from the head of history department. So welcome to Ramadan Live. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum salam.
How are you both?
Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, we are good, thank you. How is your Ramadan going, Wahida?
Alhamdulillah, it's going really fine. A lot easier. It's easy this year.
The timings, isn't
Yes.
it? It's a little bit shorter this year, which is really good, really good. And how is your Ramadan going, Shabana?
Alhamdulillah, going really well. So glad it's the Easter break, so we can focus on our reading and our spiritual side of it.
Alhamdulillah. So I've asked you to come into the studio today to tell me, because you've done something really exciting recently. And I'd love you to share it with the listeners, because it's such an inspiration, and hopefully other schools who haven't already jumped on board with it, hopefully by listening to you today, they will jump on board with that as well. And you did something very, very special just last week, was it, for your students?
It was last week? It was last week on Tuesday.
Last week. And it took part after school hours, I believe?
It was, yeah.
So there was an extra effort from yourself outside of working hours, and extra effort from the children as well outside of school hours.
So it was extra effort from the children, the parents, the community, other teachers who stayed behind as well. So what we did for the first time ever, we hosted our very first iftar dinner.
Amazing.
And it was an amazing turnout.
It was fantastic. I mean, we had people from all walks of life, and we had a counsellor there, and he was absolutely amazed. And he said this should be happening in all schools. A local counsellor from Middlesbrough, from this ward actually, Central Ward, Councillor Matthew Story was there.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning. How did you have the idea to do a school iftar? How did it come together? And what was the process? How long did it take?
The process, I think, taken about a few weeks. And obviously I had a discussion with Mr. Skidmore, who was the principal of the school. And obviously with my new role, which is looking at culture and identity, we look at different cultures within our school, and acknowledge and celebrate each and every one of us, whether you're Hindu, whether you're Muslim, whether you're Christian, whether you're Jew. So we try to acknowledge and educate our students and our teachers within our school, because we're so multicultural, we're so diverse. There's over 47 languages spoken within Outwood Academy Acklam. And I think it was initially, when I was first given the role, I think it was very important that we are acknowledging one another, not just as a group of people, but as individuals. But going back onto the iftar dinner, obviously, as we had a conversation with Mr. Skidmore in the past of what we do within the community, with our neighbours, and obviously with our family, and he'd mentioned I'd love to have it in school one day. Initially, I think we were worried about the timing, because it is quite late on in the evening. Would parents and families and the community members, would they actually attend? And alhamdulillah, we had over 100 people attend for our very first iftar dinner. Yeah. So we started the evening at 6:30, and the event started at 7 o'clock. We had students from year 11, year 10, even at Key Stage 3, to be honest,
Yes, we did.
Attend the iftar dinner with their families. And they did a little talk, a little speech about Islam, the wisdom of Ramadan, why we actually fast. And it wasn't just for Muslims. The sole purpose is to educate non-Muslims as well. And it wasn't just for, all the Muslims are invited. It was open up to every single student and their parents.
So you had Muslims and non-Muslims attend the iftar?
Yes.
Amazing.
Had the non-Muslims that came, had they fasted as well?
The students and the parents didn't, but
Yeah.
the principal and
Oh, wow.
the vice principal, they fasted on the day, and the vice principal, he actually he's been fasted for a full week as well.
Wow.
And I think Wahida, you provided him with a mini platter
Yes,
to break his fast as well.
What I
didn't
did
you?
was I left a mini platter for him because the following day they had an event on, and I bought some dates and some food and a drink for him, and he was overwhelmed. And I said, because you're fasting, this is my duty. And he couldn't believe it, you see. And I said, that's your mini platter to take home. So he was absolutely overwhelmed. And he said, what's come through is that the generosity of the Muslim community. Yeah. And I said, it is a month of Thanksgiving, you know, and we're fortunate for what we've got. He couldn't believe it. And he said he's enjoyed doing it. And he said after the holidays, it probably might do another week. But it was absolutely brilliant. And he was getting up on the morning. And he said, oh, this morning my alarm didn't go off. I didn't get up, but I'm still all right. I've had nothing to eat. Wow. This was on the Thursday.
Yeah.
But it was
both like Mrs. Skidmore, he actually woke up in the morning and they both had a nice healthy breakfast and then came to school and they were absolutely fine. And that was to support, they didn't have to fast, they didn't need to, but they fasted to show their support to their students and their families. And it showed how caring they were and how understanding they were. And just to get the experience, isn't it? Yeah, to get the experience and to understand, because we always talk about, you know, that Ramadan is not just, when you fast, is not just because obviously it's ordered from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's ordered you to fast. It's, you know, it's from the Quran that we have to, but to also know how it feels to fast for those who don't have, you know, enough food or who are in poverty.
And this is where on the evening the boys came in and said that we remember those people who don't have anything, but in the other countries where people give food to the mosque, if you can't afford anything, people will go break the fast. People give zakah, fitrana, and the boys were really good at demonstrating that.
There were 3 students, 2 in year 11 and 1 in year 10, and they presented to the audience of why we fast, the wisdom behind fasting, the scientific evidence behind fasting, and it was such a beautiful event. They recited the Quran, so ayahs from the Quran of where the evidence is in Arabic, obviously, and in English. And then we had 10 minutes.
Yes.
Within that time, obviously the year 11s, the girls, they gave out the dates. We had dates and on water. And within that 10 minutes before the fast opened, we were able to, you know, mingle with each other and talk. It was just a lovely family environment.
It was relaxed, and the staff were overwhelmed, and the other adults who were non-Muslims, the call to prayer.
Yeah.
So year 11 performed that. Oh,
it was amazing.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. That was out of this world. And and he's an Arabic student as well.
Yeah, that's
so the voice, you know, and it just reminded me of being in Makkah and Medina when I went during Ramadan, and he was giving the call to prayer.
Yeah, he has such a beautiful voice.
Yeah, he did.
And they had so much knowledge of Islam. And when he did, before he called the call to prayer, he explained why we open our fast with a date, because it was another Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and why we have to say the adhan before we break our fast. And it was amazing that everyone just silently listened to him, and they were awed, weren't they?
Yes, they were. I mean, we had the associate chief executive who has to travel all the way to Wakefield, and she was down for the event. She stayed till 9 o'clock. I mean, absolutely brilliant. And when he was doing the call for prayer, she said, what's he saying? And I said, he's saying hasten to prayer, you know. So I was just translating to them, explaining what was going on. But, you know.
And then behind the theatre, we had 2 rooms. And then the sisters prayed in one room and the brothers prayed in the other room. And then we all went for dinner. And it was amazing. The food was gorgeous.
It was absolutely fantastic. It was like a banquet.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they went all out, especially. It wasn't just, you know, normal, simple food. We had samosas, lamb koftas, drumsticks, pizzas, sandwiches, lasagna, both veg and meat, curry.
And there's beef
burgers and chips.
Yeah, there's all sorts of cake and custard.
We had school cake and custard.
But it was like a banquet. Yeah. You know, it was just amazing.
It was a lovely family environment, and the sole purpose was to show, although obviously teachers and non-Muslims, this is how it is in Ramadan, because on the day-to-day, everyone's working. You know, children are at school, college, at university, parents are working, and sometimes you don't get that time where you do sit together and eat as a family. And Ramadan is that time where you do actually, for a full month, no matter what happens, you are all going to break your fast at the same time. You will pray and you will eat together. And we just wanted to show that this is what we do as a family, not just within our family, with our community and our neighbours.
One of the questions I got was from a non-Muslim. So if your stomach shrinks, will you be cooking less and less? I said, no, far from it. You cook more. And I said, you'll come to my house and see different plates and trays from neighbours. And then usually at school, my department will say, did anybody send you food last night? And I'll take everything, and they're happy to have it, because I don't like to see waste. And I said, no, in fact, there's more and more every day, because you get things from the neighbours, and this is what we do. We send food to the mosque, boxes of fruit, and they couldn't believe it, like how we celebrate Ramadan together, as a community, as a big family.
So it sounds like there's obviously an awful lot of effort from everybody, as you mentioned, the directors and the head teachers and people fasting that didn't need to fast, somebody traveling from Wakefield, the children explaining what the azan is and why to break the fast with dates and water. Obviously, just the organization of it, inviting parents. It sounds like so much effort went into it from so many people. But obviously, I think if we kind of maybe talk about the two different groups, so kind of how the Muslims found it, how they felt having the azan in school, breaking a fast in school, being in front of their non-Muslim friends or non-Muslim teachers and doing something that's normal to them, but obviously isn't normal for them to be seen by the non-Muslims. How did they feel having that whole experience of sort of really kind of living their Ramadan in a school environment?
To be honest, they absolutely loved it, and they appreciated the fact that we did this for them, if that makes sense. And I think they wanted it for a while, but they absolutely loved it and respected the teachers and the school for allowing this to happen. Just on a point I want to make is that we've actually provided a multi-faith room for our students to pray. And I think it's all the efforts from the year 11s and the year 10s who do pray 5 times a day. I think that's how it initially started. They wanted a prayer room. And alhamdulillah, we provided a multi-faith room for everyone to pray and, just to reflect. And then when this had happened, we had a culture day as well, didn't we?
We did. I think we were the first school in Middlesbrough to have a culture day last year.
So that it was small steps building up to where we are now. It wasn't just all of a sudden we're going to have an iftar dinner, but it was small steps from culture day to having a multi-faith room to having our iftar dinner. And it wasn't just the teachers that made the effort, it was from the students. And on the night that the students came early, there's about 17 of you that came early, just to help with the decorations, setting up the stage, to set up the kajur and the water. It wasn't from the teacher, it was actually from the students as well, which what it made it so beautiful.
And I had to laugh because to myself, one of the parents said, these dates are so beautiful, the module dates. I mean, we had like trays and trays and trays. She said, my mum would love these. Can I take some home? And what I did was give her 2 or 3 little trays. She said, oh, this many? I said, of course. I said, this is what Ramadan's about.
Yeah, it's about giving,
and even the staff enjoyed them. They said, oh, we've never tasted.
Yeah, Julie, I think she had 3. She had 3.
Yeah, we've never tasted dates like these. So they're absolutely yummy,
Yeah, and it was actually a famous food store who actually donated the dates. I'd mentioned them doing an iftar dinner. And then obviously Simon Ramzan, who's a friend of mine, she gave the decorations. So I think it was a joint effort from everyone.
And just to go back, we said we started with little small steps. Our principal has just been there over a year, Graham Skidmore, absolutely fantastic, accommodating. I'll pass it on to Shabana, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think we've gotten this far.
To be honest, he's never worked in such a multicultural, diverse school. And he's worked in a school in Redcar, which is predominantly white, and I think maybe 1% where it is of different cultures. And he wanted to do more. So obviously we had a little chat, didn't we, initially, me and Mr. Skidmore, of, what could we do? And I said, look, there needs to be change put into place. And you don't, because obviously we do, it's not a Muslim school. And we do celebrate Christmas, we celebrate Easter. But I said, look, if you look around, not everybody is Christian. They don't celebrate Christmas. You need to really open your eyes and celebrate and acknowledge everybody. And whether it obviously we've had
Hanukkah for the PowerPoint and what Shabana's done. So raising awareness of all cultures, religion. And
in tutor, because we have 25 minutes in tutor on the morning. So obviously it's my duty to, if it was, Holy Diwali, whether it's Easter, whether it was Chinese New Year, it was Black History Month, Gypsy Roma Month, is to acknowledge and educate the students around the school because I think the problem that we have in most schools is that fear of asking the question because they don't want to be ignorant. So I've had so many teachers approach me, or students approach me, Miss, I'm really sorry, but I don't want to be ignorant. And they ask me the question. And I think as a Muslim, you need to be open and honest as possible and say, come and ask us the questions.
Definitely. So so you had non-Muslims attend as well?
Yes, we did.
How did they find, I know we've touched on it a little bit, but I mean, it must have been very kind of positively but slightly overwhelming for them as well to hear, like you mentioned, the call to prayer for the first time, the food, obviously the banquet that you mentioned afterwards, and just being in that environment, because it's a very different environment for them to be in, and especially those that have fasted will have enjoyed that feast so much more as well. So what kind of feedback were you getting from the non-Muslims?
I think, those who did attend, some of them had never heard the Azan before. And some of them never heard the Quran recitation, and I think they were all quite overwhelmed. I remember Rebecca saying that she was quite emotional.
Yeah, she was.
She was, wasn't she? Seeing the togetherness of the staff and the students and the love that we had.
I mean, sorry.
Yeah, so she was really overwhelmed. She was quite emotional, and so were the other staff members, and any of the parents. They were asking us questions.
And she stayed because she's from Baydale, farming community, and it's the first multicultural school she's worked at. And she said it was an amazing experience. I mean, she stayed because she had a fair bit to travel, and she couldn't believe it, like how we come close together and the generosity. And she said it was an eye-opener for her. And Councillor Matthew Story might want man me mentioning his name, and he said I absolutely loved it. And he said there should be more events, and he'll do anything to help and support the school in any way he can. But he thoroughly enjoyed it. A parent who spoke to me, they said we didn't realise he did this. With they thought we fasted for 30 days and only had an hour or two to eat. I said no, we can eat right until sunset in the morning. Sunrise. Yeah, sunset. Yeah, sorry.
Now, obviously, you've both been in education for some time. How long have you worked in education?
18 years now.
And Wahida, how long have you worked?
At the school on site for 27 years. Then I was at Ersum Primary prior to that for 8 years. So
is this the first iftar either of you have experienced in your workplace?
Yes. I've been in education for 36 years, yeah. Very first time.
Yeah.
So why now?
I think it needed to be now more than ever. In the past, obviously, when me and you we were working together, if you remember, we used to have, and lunch was always an hour. Was it 15 minutes? Was it an hour? 50 minutes, wasn't it? And then we used to have our little sister circle, and again, the students used to come to our class, and we used to talk about Islam. I think you always had something organised. Amanda was very organised back then. And we'd discuss different topics of Islam. But then we've had Ramadan club, just like your child's primary secondary school, Amanda, in Eaglescliff. So we've had a Ramadan club where I think you raised...
Shabana, can you remember? It was the first time Outwood Academy Grange Trust had taken over, and chief executive was in, and I said we need a room for the students instead of course. So we had a room for the students. With Shabana, myself, and Saf, we would
between three
of us, we would look after it. And the children just brought the money in, they saved on lunches, and then raised 1,136. Some staff members gave money towards it, and we sent it to Al-Ikra, Al Care Foundation. It was sent to them for a water project, and that's going back in 2012. So we've had different things like that going on.
So we've had smaller projects on the way, but I think the school have acknowledged it now, that we need to do something more than just having a Ramadan room. We've had Eid dinner. Actually, we have had a Eid dinner.
Yes, we have.
And then this year we'll have another Eid dinner. So we said, look, we have Christmas dinners. Let's have an Eid dinner. And that was lovely as well. That was amazing.
It was lovely.
Is the Eid dinner for the whole school, or again is that kind
No,
of
whole
special
school,
invitation?
not lunchtime, for the whole
school.
school. Yeah.
So what's on? I know we're fasting.
I
It's
always
not great
say-
to talk about food, but what's on the menu for the Eid dinner?
So we have a mixture from pilau rice to roast to shish kebabs to samosas to sweet rice. Again, cake and custard. So we have to remember it's not. Yeah. There's Muslims from Palestine,
Yemen,
Afghanistan, Somalia, Pakistanis, Indian
Malaysia.
Muslims, Malaysia. So there's different Muslims. So we have to cater for
Bangladesh,
yeah,
India,
everyone.
everywhere. And what I've said to the students is, and they do feel comfortable because I did teach citizenship, and I'll say to them, it's a multicultural country, you know, multi-faith, and in Britain we believe in religious pluralism. No one religion is greater than any other religion. Every religion is equal, you know, and that's what we teach. Part of the British values was one of the principles, and the children will step back. And I said, think about it, you know, and they'll say, oh yes, Miss, you're right, because we can build mosques here, we can build temples. Some countries you can go, you won't be able to build a mosque or a church. I mean, it depends where you go in the world.
Everybody's religion is the most important religion to them, isn't it? Obviously, if you speak to a Christian, to them Christianity would be the most important religion. As Muslims, we would see our Islam as being the most important religion. But I think, you know, you've sort of hit the nail on the head where you've explained the importance of, you know, everyone's religion matters to them.
To them, yeah.
And it's important at that point that, again, when the show began and I said, you know, we want for your brother what you want for yourself, want for your sister what you want for yourself, is so important, because if you want to be able to practice your religion freely and be acknowledged for being a person of faith and be able to pray in your workplace or observe Ramadan in your workplace, why would you not want somebody else of, you know, your neighbor's religion or your colleague's religion or your school friend's religion to be able to practice their religion freely as well? Because it doesn't encroach on you and what you do doesn't encroach on what they do. It's just that freedom to practice. And, you know, when we consider religion as a whole, there isn't a religion out there that promotes anything bad. Most religions have very similar core beliefs about treating each other kindly, feeding the orphans and the poor, you know, be kind to animals, that type of thing. The core beliefs are very, very similar. And if everybody was able to practice more openly, more freely, surely the world would be a better place if you've got everyone following these basic core beliefs. So, you know, the fact that the schools and other places of work are opening up and allowing people to be more open about who they are, what religion they practice, and to be able to bring it into the workplace can only be a good thing as well. And if you think about from a school's perspective, if your other members of staff, your non-Muslim members of staff are fasting along with the Muslim children, they're going to understand firsthand why the children might not be as fast in PE, why they might kind of not have maybe done the homework to the standard they may have done before, because they're fasting and obviously fitting in maybe it's Tarawih and Iftar, along with doing revision for GCSEs and so on. And just having that first-hand understanding is very different, isn't it, to just being told, well, this is what it feels like, but actually experience it. And I think you're both very, very fortunate to have like the support of the staff and the pupils, both the Muslims and the non-Muslims, that you've got. I think it's phenomenal. And I think the local MP is right. There should be more events like this.
It was the councillor.
The local councillor, is right. There should be more things like this happening in other schools, in places of work, because like you said, Shabana, there are Christmas dinners, Christmas parties at work. Why not use, you know, other religions to have something as well? You know, the colleagues could get together and quite easily meet on an evening for an iftar dinner. You know, and there are even local restaurants with prayer rooms. You know, we don't have to compromise our own way of practicing iftar to cater for somebody else. There are plenty of restaurants locally in Middlesbrough that have prayer rooms where you can go for iftar, read your salah, read your Maghrib salah, come back down, finish your food, and then either head home or back to the mosque. why not take some colleagues with you to take part in that? I think it's fantastic, honestly. But I think you are also very, very fortunate to have that support network from such an amazing school. And I do hope that listening to you both inspires other teachers from other schools who may not have that communication open to go and open it. To go and say, look, this school's doing this. Can we? And look at the response. Look how amazing it was. How many people attended. Look at the amazing feedback. Our school should have that feedback. Our school should have that response as well.
I think it's always the first step, isn't it? It's the first step, the fear of, because obviously Ramadan, the fast open that day was 7:36, and we were quite worried, is anyone actually going to turn up? We had a form, obviously they had to fill a form, and most said that they would attend with their families of 5, 6. But I think on the night we were thinking, is anyone really going to turn up? It is quite late on, and I was worried. I said, Graham, look, what if no one does turn up? And I said, look, it's the first time we're doing it. Let's just see how it turns out. But even with 100, it was amazing. I think it was just so spiritual. It was just such a lovely, nice, calm atmosphere. I think it just
the bit
it made you proud of who you actually are. That I'm a Muslim and I'm able to share this experience with everybody else.
Yeah, I think it was a fast 7:38, and one mosque this was interesting, and Waterloo Mosque was, I think, 7:40. So everybody broke their fast. And what do you mean? I said, oh well, mine's 7:40. I'm with Waterloo, so I was two different timings. So I had to explain to the head to the principal. And I said, well, I'm following the timetable from Waterloo Mosque. It's the...
At least we didn't have to explain the fact that we all had to fast a different day. Alhamdulillah, around the world, we all had to,
So I was waiting 2 minutes with the date in my hand and everybody's watching me. And I said, oh no, it's because with Waterloo Masjid, it's Jamia Masjid, it's 7:40 this evening. So I just waited that 2 minutes.
That can happen even between families. So,
families
can be split up amongst the boroughs of Stockton and Middlesbrough, and then they come together at iftar, and then the next thing everyone's azans are going off at different times, and then some people are opening their fast, and there's a sort, like as you said, stood there with the date in the hand waiting. But I think it's difficult, isn't it? Once you've been following a particular timetable, it's very hard to jump forward or jump back because you feel like you're kind of cheating a little bit, even though all the mosques have got the right times for them. To change your timing even for one night can be difficult.
My youngest son, both my sons was there. My youngest one, he said, I'll go with the majority here. I'll go with the 7:38. He said, Mum, you can wait.
But we all read Salah together.
We did.
One of the students in year 11, he read the prayer, he led the Salah in congregation, and that was beautiful. The fact that students were able to read Salah together, no matter what time or when you opened your fast, the fact that we read Salah together, that was amazing, mashallah. And in their own school. So those who weren't fast, like the non-Muslims, they went to eat. So we had to filter out, and they went to eat, and the rest prayed, and then we went to have some dinner.
Did you have to bring all the prayer mats in? How did you do your Salah?
So we messaged parents to say, could you bring your own Salah? But at the same time, I had 3 big, massive sheets in both rooms. We had a curtain in between, and most of them did bring their own prayer mats. So just in case we didn't have enough, so we had both.
It was well organised. Shibani did a fantastic job.
Alhamdulillah.
The kids did. I just get the impression, sort of thinking like a million years ago since I was at school. If you do something that's out of the ordinary, you definitely remember it. And I'm just wondering how much of an effect it's had on the Muslim kids and the non-Muslim kids that were there.
To be honest, it's had a massive effect. When I came back to school the next day, a lot of the students who didn't turn up, because they didn't know what to expect. They said, Miss, I'm sorry, I didn't attend. I was like, it's absolutely fine. There's always next year. So next year, I think it will be bigger and better. And I think that inshallah, and that was from what they've heard from those who did attend, how amazing it was from teachers and from students. And I think because they've heard how amazing it was, they will hopefully, inshallah, attend next year as well. It'll be bigger and better next year. We'll have to have a Kahoot game.
So we had a performance the following day, and they had an interval deliberately. The interval was during the breaking of the fast, so it allowed the children who participated in the performance and the parents and the vice principal, and I was there as well, to break our fast. So they took a 15-minute break right on the breaking of the fast time, which was absolutely brilliant.
And they didn't need to. but they did because they knew they were fasting. And I spoke to Nicola, and she said that next year when they do, she's going to bear in mind when obviously Ramadan is, they don't do a school performance. There was a musical performance in that time. So again, they're tolerant and they're considering what we should do in that time of year for our students. And I remember I spoke to Mr. Palmer the next day, who was fasting for the full week, and he broke his fast with the students that night on the Wednesday, which is the day after the iftar dinner. And he said it was amazing because the students were sharing their food with me, and you don't get that. They were sharing, we were all sharing, and the parents were sharing their food with me, and I was sharing it with them. And he's never had that before.
When we had the interval during the performance following day, so I said to Chris, there's your dates, there's your kumquats. And there was, I didn't know at the time, I know they were from the Middle East and Arabic family. And I said, would you like one of these? She said, is it tomato? I said, no, it's a kumquat. So she had a taste and she said, oh, you get these back in my country, sweet and sour. And I said, that's where I first tried them at Edgware Road. She said, do you mind if I take a couple, take home to my husband to try? I said, no, take more. And people who are non-Muslims are watching what's going on, you know, but that...
The actions speak louder than words. You know, with Islam, you don't... I think, you know, dawah itself, it has to be your action more than, you know, you actually speaking, whether you're kind to someone, giving to your neighbours, being kind to each other. It's all about your actions, isn't it? As the saying goes, actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely. But I do have a question. You mentioned that during the Salah time, the boys and the girls prayed separately. What did the non-Muslims do? Did they watch? Did they remain somewhere else?
So initially we were supposed to have a video to film those who were praying for the non-Muslims to see, but fortunately, because of permission, asking parents were they allowed to, we weren't able to do that. But that was the plan, that the non-Muslims will see them pray. So hopefully next year, when we're able to organise it in a few weeks or months in advance, we will be able to ask permission from parents. But that was a whole plan for them to see them pray. But the multi-faith room or the prayer room is actually in the dining room, in the dining hall on the top floor. So non-Muslims do actually see Muslims going to pray.
So it's in the atrium area where the school's built.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's worth offering the opportunity for the non-Muslims to actually stand behind and join in the prayer if they want to.
See, if back onto that last week, or the week before, was the 21st, we'd taken 40 year 9 students, and we said year 9 because obviously it's in the middle of the 5 years. 40 year 9 students to visit a church and a mosque. Some of them had never been to a church before. Some of them, you know, it was a mixture, Muslim and non-Muslim. I've never been to a mosque before. So it was amazing how when we went to Faruqi Azam Mosque in Stockton, that they showed and demonstrated how to do wudu and how to pray. And the non-Muslims were stood doing ruku, doing sujood and praying and showing how it was done. Whereas I think it was somebody else, if it was a Muslim, said, you know, you need to do this in Christianity. Would we do it?
That's true, actually, because obviously, you know, there are a lot of obviously Catholic schools or Church of England schools in the area, and especially with the Catholic schools, they're normally linked directly to their own church as well. So they will walk, especially with the primary school children, they will regularly walk their children to services at the church during school hours. Then obviously, especially like Easter and Christmas, there's a lot of church services where they are offered the bread and the water. I mean, I'm sure, Julie, you can tell me better than what I can, because you used to be a Catholic yourself.
I did, yes.
But there's the giving of the bread and wine to the children, and then there's the ashes, isn't there? Putting the ashes, Ash Wednesday, where they put the sign of the cross, using ashes onto the children's forehead. And as a Muslim family, my children actually went to a Catholic school, and you're absolutely right, Shabana, because I wouldn't allow my children to take the bread and the wine, although obviously it wasn't really wine, it wasn't really bread either, and I wouldn't allow them to have the sign of the cross put on their head in the ashes, but I allowed them to go to the service. I allowed them to observe what their Catholic school friends were doing, because obviously we made the decision that they were going to be in a Catholic school, and we felt that at least it was a school of faith rather than a school of no faith. So we knew there was going to be, you know, this type of thing happening, but we did draw that line with they couldn't be anointed by the priest, for example, that type of thing. But obviously, you're right. Actually, we love it when the Muslims join in with us, but we actually aren't as quick to join in with the non-Muslims in that sense. We have a line, don't we, that we have to be careful not to cross.
I think it's in taking part in the Christian celebrations, it's an acknowledgement of an acceptance, though, isn't it? That's if putting the sign of a cross on a child's forehead is kind of, we wouldn't want to go there anyway, would we? And certainly things like going to communion, you do need to have actually. You have to have had your first communion in order to do that. So you can't just rock up anytime you like. Somebody, you can't have communion unless you've had your first communion. So yeah, it's all part of the rituals, and you wouldn't want to go there.
But it is lovely that the non-Muslims have gone to the mosque and they've took part in.
Yeah, but there's
not our rituals, so to speak, but our practices.
Yeah, I suppose. But then, if there is the fact that with the Christian beliefs, it's as far as we're concerned, that's shirk, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, but with the Christians looking at or taking part in what we do, there's no conflict with the Christian belief, because there's a belief in one God, and we're praying to one God. So it doesn't contradict any of the Christian beliefs. We just don't we just don't go down the Trinity route, do we?
It was amazing when the students were asking questions. Why are the mats or the carpets faced one way? What's the reason? What's the purpose?
Yeah.
And there was the mimbar and there's writing on the wall. They were asking questions because they've never been to a mosque before. But it was amazing. And again, great feedback from students, great feedback from staff who did go. So in September, we'll be taking a full year group of the year 7s again to a church, a mosque, a synagogue, a Hindu temple, just to acknowledge. And it's not really celebrate, acknowledge each other. This is who we are, but we're one school, we're one community, and we are one family. And you can only do that by educating one another within our classrooms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what we find now is that a lot of students integrate a lot more now than they ever have. I've been working for 18 years, and you've been working for 27 years. And I think initially when we were teachers and when you were working with me, everyone had their separate groups, where the Pakistanis were in one group, the whites were in one group, the Bangladeshis were in one group. But now it's just, it is. They're all sort of, and I think that's made an impact on the school and the behaviour, and they're accepting each other because of the work that we've done behind the scenes, at tutor time. Like it was Black African Black History Month
in October.
We did assembly based on Black history, and then we did presentations at tutor time. We did activities. We had Black African drums.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and then mask making as well. So it was amazing. It's been good. It's been a long journey, but it's been a fantastic journey.
It's been brilliant.
Since I've had this role.
And you can only keep building.
Yeah, inshallah.
Keep building.
Can I just come in, like addressing misconceptions? So this is before, if you don't mind, I would taken over, going back 10, maybe about 15 years ago. Schools used to do exchange trips. I used to get students from abroad, and we had some students. Right. Yeah. So we had some students from the US. My eldest at the time was probably 9 or 10, and these boys were 13. And I can remember the coordinator said to me, the boys are Jewish. Do you have a problem with it? I said, of course not. I'm a Muslim, as long as they don't have a problem. So they were with me for 5 days, during the day, right until the evening. And my friend, because her boys were a bit older, Parveen, she lives in North Ormsby, and she goes, no, I'll accommodate them. And they were absolutely fantastic, and one of them was religious, the other one wasn't. And I said, do you have any problems, staying with us? And he said, oh, we hear all this in the media about, Jews and Muslims, but you're just ordinary people, and it's lovely. But that was really lovely. And one of them kept in touch for so many years, writing letters and sent a book in the post. But that was absolutely lovely, because there is a misconception that Muslims and all Muslims and Jews don't get on. But I hosted 2 boys who were with me through the evening, and then used to go to the pharmacy to my friend Parveen, and they'd sleep over there because her boys were a little bit older, you see.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. But well, it was a nice experience.
That's the thing, the media portrays such a negative image on Muslims and Jews, but I think it's up to us as individuals, as teachers, as high figures and professionals to stop that misconception.
Absolutely, definitely. And it sounds to me like you've done it perfectly, mashallah, in the school. And obviously, as you mentioned, your aim for next year is to have even more people attend. And lead the way for local schools, really, to kind of to jump on board and do something very, very similar, or their own take on it, and just to bring it to the forefront, really.
On Culture Day last year, there was like 50 different types of food. Yes, and the students were dressed up, and the British white students participated in
the culture
dress.
Culture Week is actually the 21st, I think it is, of May, 25th of May. But we weren't able to have it in that week because the year 11 had exams. So we had the full Culture Day on the week at the end of their exam, and they absolutely loved it. They all wore different outfits. And I think initially the teachers were a bit worried, thinking, oh my God, what if they go crazy on the day? But they just gave each other so much love and so much respect. Oh, I love your outfit, you look amazing. And it was just seeing how, obviously, because when at school you all wear the same uniform, and outside of school you don't really see each other. And to share that experience for the students, it was
especially with the young males, with the thobes.
Oh, yeah, they had the thobes on.
And then we had some British white students who just had a different dress, but it was like, from books or fairy tales, but it was nice.
Yeah, it was lovely.
How everybody mingled in together.
I think, it's obviously bullying can be quite an issue, especially through secondary schools. And sometimes people bully for somebody being different or something they don't understand. So allowing a day in the school where being different is good, and saying it's okay to be you, to dress as you, and to represent who you are, and bring that into school, is only something that can have a positive impact on the children to see each other. Because if you think back to junior school, there's always World Book Day, isn't there, where children are encouraged to dress as a book character, and they all end up turning up as Spider-Man and Cinderella. It's like they don't even come from a book. Sometimes they just come as superheroes, don't they? So why not, as secondary school, have like a national dress day, or
see what we do have also is in our dining area, we have flags on the canteen leading all the way to the library, to the front entrance of the countries where our students are from. So they can sit in the dining hall and say, that's my flag. My parents are from there. Because some of them from our schools have only been in the UK for 5-6 years, or even less, or maybe 10 years. And they always go back, obviously, to visit family and friends. And that's them saying, I belong in this school. This school has accepted me, who I am, and I'll be able to, develop and embrace as who I am, whether I'm from Palestine, Iraq, Iran, from Somalia, from Africa, from Pakistan, from India, Sri Lanka, wherever I am from, I'll be able to, I might be different, but different is good. Because if we're all the same, we'd all be boring, as you said.
It shows, doesn't it, that really we don't need to be afraid of each other, but actually we need to be more interested in each other. And it is interesting to learn how somebody else dresses, how somebody else eats, how they do their level of worship, what religion they do follow. And children do find it interesting. I think it's as adults that we become fearful. And if we can take that fear away from the children, they'll grow up with that level of interest and that level of understanding and compassion for each other, rather than growing up with that fear and wariness that they need to stay away from somebody else because they're a bit different. But I think what we need to do now is hear from maybe some of the pupils that took part in that evening. So we're going to go to a small ad break, and then when we come back, obviously we'll keep you both here in the studio as well and keep hearing from you. But we would like to hear from a student's perspective as well, inshallah. So please do stay tuned to Radio Ramadan Live on CVFM 104.5. Sisters Circle will be back with you in just a few minutes' time.
Keep it locked to 104.5 CVFM.
How does it feel when you stop smoking?
Brilliant. I've finally quit.
I feel like I've got my life back.
I was so proud of myself.
I feel a lot richer.
It feels good.
I just feel fitter and healthier.
I felt much happier.
It's an amazing feeling when you stop smoking. With the help of NHS Smoke Free, you could experience that feeling for yourself. Our range of support tools, which includes face-to-face guidance from advisors, helps maximise your chances of success. Go online now and search for Smoke Free.
Ali's Superstore, the talk of the town.
Ali's Superstore, probably the largest international food store in the Northeast, stocking a big variety of products at unbeatable prices. Visit us for all your herbs and spices, exotic fruit and veg, savoury and sweet snacks, and frozen foods. Oh, did we mention that we also have an in-house butcher's department? Ali's Superstore is currently offering 10% discount across all products for NHS staff, critical care workers, and students on presenting of a valid ID. Ample free parking available for your convenience. Local delivery service also available on orders over £50.
Ali's Superstore, located in Linthorpe Village. Visit us today at 436 Linthorpe Road, Middlesbrough. Telephone 01642 134 866. 01642 134 866. Ali's Superstore, your local international food store.
Plasma. It's incredible stuff. It's powerful, priceless to those who need it, and though you may not have heard of it before, it's used to create unique, life-saving medicines. And amazingly, it's in you, which is why we need you to donate plasma to help save the lives of thousands of people with weakened immune systems, using medicines only your plasma can help create. Plasma. It's the medicine in you. Search Donate Plasma to register and help save lives.
Hello, Ellie here. Let me introduce you to Smoothprint.
Whether you need business cards, brochures for your startups, or posters to announce your grand opening, perhaps design a logo to further promote your business, we can do it all and much more in a record time and at affordable prices.
Smoothprint is your local professional design and print business specialising in shop signage and vehicle graphics.
Our team of professional graphic designers will ensure that your corporate image and values are shown in a memorable, charming way, while the state-of-the-art digital printing technology we use will impress your business partners and potential customers and will add to your competitive edge.
Smoothprint. Telephone 01642 688 400 or order online at www.smoothprint.co.uk.
Do you have a vacancy to fill right now? Because right now at Job Centre Plus, we have thousands of people ready to work for your business. Right now across the country, our work coaches are helping thousands of employers connect with the people they need. So right now, you could be speaking to a named employer advisor and matching a candidate to one of your vacancies. Speed up your recruitment at gov.uk/way-to-work.
Have you seen that Change for Life? It's all about small changes we can do to make us healthier. Whether you and your family want to cut back fat, watch the salt, make sugar swaps, get your 5 a day or be more active, Change for Life has something for you. To find loads of easy everyday ideas, just search online for Change for Life. Now.
This is your local community station, 104.5 CVFM.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Sisters Circle live on Ramadan Live CVFM 104.5. And we are with you for another just over half an hour. We've been talking to Sister Shabana and Sister Wahida, who both work at Outward Academy in Akram, about how they've been celebrating the month of Ramadan at school, in particular with an iftar that had the teachers and non-Muslim pupils as well as the Muslim staff and Muslim pupils attend. So we've been chatting with those. But what we have now in the studio is we also have a pupil from Outward Academy. So we've heard from the teachers, and I think it's only fair that we hear how the children found it. So Amanah, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the radio.
Thank you.
So thank you for joining us and taking time out of your restful weekend. I know you've been at school all week and here you are now representing your school on the weekend, but it's so lovely to see you. And we just thought we'd ask you how you found the iftar. So obviously, did you have a special role? Were you an attendee?
Well, me and 16 of my other friends, we came in, I think, about 5 o'clock on that evening.
And we were like setting up balloons, setting up kajuru, water, getting everything sorted and putting in the sheaves and stuff like that. And it was just a beautiful night. It was lovely to see everyone integrate, come together and really see what we celebrated and why we did everything.
And you're in year 11, is that right?
Yeah.
So was there children from all the year groups, or was it just year 11?
Well, the ones that helped out earlier were like year 11s, but who came on the night were like different year groups.
Okay. And was there any non-Muslims from your year group? Any of
Yeah.
your non-Muslim friends attend?
There actually was, and it was lovely seeing them there, seeing them take part and have an insight of our culture and religion.
Was there lots of questions on the night from them to you? Or were they just really enjoying themselves?
I think enjoying themselves. Like normally in the school day there are questions like not even water, like for a full 30 days, and it was nice for them to realise and learn more about it.
It must have been quite special to you as well to have the non-Muslim, because obviously you'd expect maybe your Muslim friends to come, but then to have your non-Muslim friends attend, and then some of your non-Muslim teachers too.
Yeah.
How did it feel to sit and open your fast with your teachers?
I felt quite respected, that they were actually respecting my religion, like intrigued about it, want to know like more about it. And I felt it was a nice community, like we all belonged. So yeah.
Is that word belong? So that event made you feel like you belonged. Is that a feeling you've had through all of your years in school, or is it something that's maybe you've experienced more recently? Or have you always felt that way in school?
I don't think I have. I feel like we've always been like a bit different, not in a bad sense, but just like Ramadan, Eid, it wasn't really like emphasized enough. It was mostly like Easter, Christmas, but now it's like we all can show our different backgrounds and ethnicity and religion, so it's just a bit different now. And just seeing them realize that it's not just white holidays, it's also our holidays as well. It's nice.
Okay. How did you feel? So the azan, your teachers were telling us that the azan went in the school, which may have even been the first time the schools had the azan go off by somebody there in person. How did you feel sitting there in your school? Were you in uniform, by the way?
No.
Oh, so you were able to go in your own clothes.
Yeah.
So how did you feel sitting there amongst non-Muslim friends, non-Muslim staff, and then the azan going?
For me, when I hear the azan, it's just a peaceful, but just knowing that non-Muslims were listening, taking time out of their day to come to this event and just have an insight of our religion was just like, wow. It was just like a different kind of respect towards them.
Do you think the food helped? The yummy food afterwards?
Yeah. It was next level. It's too nice.
I've got to admit, I'm a little bit jealous of the school cake and custard, because everybody always talks about school cake and custard.
You can never go wrong with that.
I'm kind of wondering, actually, Julie, where our invites were. They must have.
I know, yeah.
They must have got lost in the post, mustn't they?
Next year, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay. So what made you get involved? Obviously, the ideas come to you. Did you at any point think, no, it's not for me, or were you kind of really quick to think, yeah, I want to be involved in?
Definitely, I was like, I feel like TikTok as well. You see like other schools around England be like, oh, this is what we're doing. It's like, well, why are we not doing it? Like, what's stopping us? Like, it'd be such a nice experience to have with our fellow pupils. So why not?
I think I remember, Mona, you approached me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Her and a couple of students approached me and said, look, we need to have an iftar dinner. So we were discussing it with the students because our motto for Outward is students first. And we do have a president for the school where students voice their opinion, and the students did voice their opinion that we would love to have an iftar dinner.
Yeah.
So then obviously we just went forward with it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Would you change anything for next year? Would you add something? Would you do anything different?
I feel like how Miss Rashid said, quizzes. Just doing like a little quiz for non-Muslims and Muslims to participate in, and it kind of like learns more about your religion and more than just Ramadan itself, if you know what I mean.
Kahoot's very popular at the minute.
Yeah,
it
is.
seems
Yeah.
to be. The children seem to love it. It seems to be everywhere. It would be a good idea So how early did you arrive? You said you got there a little bit early and you helped, you put some of the sheets on and you helped decorate. How much early did you get there?
Just about 1.5 hours before.
Okay. So you were there when people started arriving. You were there to welcome them? Okay. Who did you sit with?
So it was me and my friends in the first row, only because it'd be more like easier to get up, give the kujura out and water when it was time. So we all sat in the first row and then we seen everyone come on. It was just very nice.
Did your parents come with you, or was it just your friends that you sat with that
Just
time?
my friends that night, yeah.
Okay. And obviously, I mean, you're sat here now, mashallah, with hijab on. Have you worn hijab right through secondary school?
No, it's just been a few months since December.
Okay, mashallah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Allah bless it for you.
Ameen, thank you.
How did you feel putting that on?
Putting the hijab up
In
during
school.
school, right. It wasn't something new because there's, mashallah, like a lot of hijabis in our school and I have quite a few hijabi friends. So it was something that I could fit into. And even we also have some hijabi teachers as well, so I didn't really feel alone. And I did kind of have a worry, like, will people see me differently, treat me differently? But alhamdulillah, everything was just perfect. Everyone
Give you respect, haven't they?
Yeah, they didn't view me differently. They still viewed me the same as I was when I was a non-hijabi as well.
And you still are the same.
Yeah.
You as a person haven't changed.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite important to share the positive experience of that, because a lot of girls like yourself during that secondary school stage may decide to make that decision of beginning to wear hijab. I know some people go into year 7 and decide to wear it from that point. So that it's like a new start, isn't it? They're starting a new school, and they're going with the hijab. Others, like yourself, make that decision later on during your school life. But again, people have had different experiences with hijab. Some people have had negative experiences, so it's always good to hear positive experiences of how it's accepted. And obviously the fact that you're in a very multicultural school is very beneficial for you, with events like the iftar dinner and more events planned. That just makes practicing Islam so much more easier for you openly, because the hijab obviously is a big sign on you saying, I am Muslim.
Yeah, it is.
Without the hijab, you may be Muslim, you may not be. But when you have hijab, that's it. There's no disputing it at that point. It's there. And obviously that sends a message to all your friends at school, both Muslim and non-Muslim, that I am Muslim and I'm taking it seriously. Did you at any point for example, let me just backtrack a little bit. Some sisters decide to put the hijab on in Ramadan, don't they? And then try and wear it for that month, and then they try and continue it after Eid. Have you tried that before yourself?
Well, it wasn't something like, right, that's it from this day, I'm going to become a hijabi. It was like, I think about 2 years back and forth, like, Mum, Dad, I really want to wear it. And we would like sit down, have this conversation, like, why do you want to wear it and this and that. And then I remember one time for Eid, just because my family, my grandparents, we follow different mosques, so we do Eid on 2 days. So on the day that we did it, we went to Eid prayer, wore it. We went to the beach, wore it then. And I was a bit self-conscious. I just didn't really feel comfortable with it. And then from that moment, I was learning more and more about my religion, getting closer to God. And then in December, alhamdulillah, I was like, that's it, I'm ready. And then I wore it, and alhamdulillah, ever since, I haven't took it off.
How did you feel that first day going into school?
I was nervous. I was really nervous. I was like, I don't know how people are going to react. But I was like, I'm wearing it for my God. I know the reason why I'm wearing it. And if people don't accept me, it's okay, because to me, I knew it was right. And luckily for me, everyone did accept me. Everyone was okay with me. So it was good.
Do you think having a school that is so open to what, obviously what's gone on recently with the school iftar, the cultural days, and having a prayer room, do you think that helped you in your decision?
Yeah,
did it make it easier for you to be able to feel
knowing
like
that I was not like
do?
the odd one out and didn't stand out? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, mashallah, it sounds really good. It sounds like you've got an amazing support network at school that's open to just accepting not just yourself but other people that have their own preferences, their own ways, their own choices.
Yeah.
And it shows to me, I don't know what you think, Julie, but kind of society is changing, isn't it? Society is overall becoming more open, accepting. We've done shows in the past where we've sat here and said, there's a brick wall here, there's a barrier here, this is a problem, this is a negative experience. And in recent years, there has just been this huge push of positivity and opportunity for us as a community, where doors are just opening. Mashallah. Obviously, as Amanah said, she felt capable of beginning her hijab journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having a school that has an iftar, has a prayer room, is open to Islam being present in the school, has made that so much easier for her.
Islam and all the other religions that are present in the school as well, and the acceptance that as you said, it's the pluralism, isn't it? It's that that the religion is and it's not just religion, it's what's important to people is important to people, and you accept that. You're not there is no denigration of that, because everyone has what's important to them, and as long as that's accepted and appreciated, then you move forward from that point. I was just thinking the other day, actually, because I was wandering around like Middlesbrough Centre, and I was just like, just even the appearance of the people in Middlesbrough Centre compared to 10 years ago is just completely different. It's like everybody's all these different. It was a Sunday, so everybody, it's more, not so many people that are at work, so it's more what people wear during, when they're not at work. And there were so many different kind of nationalities of even people who aren't particularly going to wear their national costume, but everybody was dressed differently. And I was just like, this is amazing. It's like a completely different place. And they're happy to do that. They were in the centre of town and not like being self-conscious about it. It's just, they were just dressing how they dress. It's great.
You must have experienced that as well in school, that not having to be self-conscious.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like Julie just mentioned there, that everyone's wearing their own uniform in a way that represents them. Obviously, I know your uniform there are rules around the uniform, but the fact that you can wear hijab in school, because some years ago it wouldn't have been allowed. They might have cited like health and safety. I mean, look at the issues in France where it was banned completely. There was girls in France wearing wigs over their hijabs because the hijab was banned in the educational setting. So they were wearing wigs to try and not show their own hair, and they weren't wearing nice wigs either. They were wearing wigs that weren't adding to their beauty, whereas it defeats the point, doesn't it? So it's such a huge transition, really, for not just for Muslims, for everybody.
I think if you're going to look at kind of internationally, the response of France, which is basically to make everything secular, you cannot display your religiosity at all, and everybody's the same, to what we do in the UK, which is, that pluralism, that everything is, if you want to display how religious you are, it's entirely up to you. And I think it's a much kinder way to go, isn't it?
It definitely helps having a workplace or a school or a college accepting of,
absolutely,
it's okay, come as you are, come as you. So just coming back to Mamunah, obviously, do you know what, my mind just went blank then. My mind just it's that fasting brain, isn't it, where you realize that you haven't had your food and water, and it's kind of, it catches up with you, doesn't it? But you've had secondary school for 5 years, and you've had junior school before that. Did your junior school do anything around Eid or Ramadan?
So after the week of Eid, we used to do an Eid party at school. But we actually did have a Ramadan club where Muslims could go during lunchtime, and we'd do like very nice activities. One of the Muslim teachers would be hosting that. But that was much it, to be honest.
And how do you find fasting in school? Obviously, you've done it 5 years in secondary school now.
Yeah.
Does it get easier as you get older, or is it still kind of, how do you find it?
I quite like fasting during school, just because like the days go by so much more quicker. So now, because it's in the winter, I go to school, come back just about 2-3 hours, and then fasting opens, so it's not that bad. Quite, pass the day quickly.
And where would you spend your lunch hour?
So before the hour changed, we used to like wait in the prayer room, pray, and then we would just probably go outside and chill outside. But now, because it's like not during our lunch, we would just go outside because it's quite nice and sunny now. So just spend our afternoons outside now.
So you perform your prayers at school as well?
Yeah.
How do you find that?
It's a nice experience praying with your friends.
Is there many people using the prayer room?
During Ramadan, it was like really busy.
Really?
Yeah, but
Mashallah.
we prayed before Ramadan as well. And just praying with your friends, just that nice, peaceful experience, just knowing that we're all together, it's beautiful.
So how is your prayer room set up at school? Is there one prayer room and the boys and the girls share it? Is it divided? How is it set up?
We have one prayer room downstairs for boys, and then we have
okay.
one upstairs for girls. And then in that prayer room, there's like prayer mat, it shows you the Qibla direction, and extra hijabs as well, if anyone wants to use them.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And a question that I get asked a lot when I've had discussions about prayer rooms and praying in school, where do you do your wudu?
So luckily for me, I try to keep it. I don't really want to break it. And for those that do want to do that with at school, they just do it in the toilets.
In the public toilets with the children?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have that confidence to do it. No one judges them for it.
That's amazing, because I've been having talks with a few local schools myself personally recently, and about setting up prayer rooms. And one of the concerns of the children was, well, where are we going to do wudu? And I don't want to, be caught with my foot in the sink by my classmates, or kind of be laughed at. So I think that's amazing that your school friends have got the confidence to just not mind if they're caught with the foot in the sink, or however it is they're caught, doing their wudu. Obviously, it's the schools aren't going to particularly do a wudu area, are they? Because they're already going out on a limb to provide a prayer room. But obviously, one of the suggestions that I had for any other schools listening was that if there's maybe a staff toilet or a disabled toilet quite close to the prayer room that just the Muslims could use just for that short period of time, not the whole day, because I know you said you try and keep your wudu, which is ideal, but you don't know how your body's going to react, do you? You don't know what your body's going to do. If you need the toilet, you need the toilet. So, but that's really good that you can do that. Alhamdulillah.
Can I just say something? We've got 4 disabled toilets, and we're one of the prayer rooms on the first floor. 2 male students asked me if they could use the staff disabled toilets, and we let them in.
Amazing.
And the one-to-one teachers, they let them in, and they're quite big as well.
Yeah, we do say to the students, try to do wudu at home if you can. So when they do wash their feet, it's just the basa. They don't need to take the socks off. But if they want to, that's fine, as long as they clean them after themselves, because you have to make sure that it's clean for someone else to use, obviously, after them. And they're quite respectful, aren't they, to be honest, the boys and the girls. We have one designated multi-faith room, because obviously during Ramadan and the time changes, where the prayer started at 12:28 at one point, we then had to open another room downstairs because the boys tend to read in congregation with each other. So they were praying downstairs, where upstairs was used, especially with the Key Stage 4 students. Key Stage 3 were using the main room upstairs.
So the boys choose a leader?
Yeah, it's one who obviously knows Quran the most, and they actually read in congregation. There was one Jummah where I think it started, because there was time changes in their lunch, and it was 12 to 12:30 because of your exams. So then Salah started at 12:28, and about 9-10 of them used my room, because there wasn't enough space in the room for all of them to pray together. But alhamdulillah, I think even generally in the past, before we had the multi-faith room, some of the students who wanted to pray, they'd approach the SLT member team and say, can we pray? And they'd openly open the door and pray for them, allow them to pray, sorry.
It really is amazing. Honestly, it's so inspirational and so lovely to hear something so positive, because religion is such a big part of our lives. And there are allowances. For example, if a doctor's performing an open heart surgery, he's not going to stop the middle of the surgery to go and perform his salah. And we have the we have the mercy of Allah where we can join prayers, we can make them up later if that's the situation that we're in, if we're traveling and so on. We do have this huge amount of mercy to us, but sometimes I think we've sort of, as a community, probably held ourselves back from performing the salahs maybe on time just by not asking our employee or our school, is there somewhere we can pray? And what we're finding at the moment, just by having you guys here as well, is that quite often they are quite happy to accommodate.
Yeah.
They are quite happy to say, you know what, we can do this, we can provide you a room, we can give you that time. How do you find it, Mamunah, when the prayer time clashes with your studies? Are you allowed to come out of class, or do you have to only allow it into your lunch and break times?
The rule is only between our lunch and break times.
Okay. But that's still something.
At least we're still allowed to pray.
It's still something. Obviously, I think it was. I do have quite a funny message to read out from one parent who said that in a junior school, I'll read it out fully in a second, but the gist of it was that the junior school children were allowed time to pray, but they were going missing at 45-minute intervals. Because they were just obviously, because they were younger, they weren't just going there reading and coming back. They were obviously getting distracted and enjoying perhaps missing algebra or something, you know.
Yeah. We've said that we can only pray between lunchtime, and because the school finishes at 2:30, they're able to pray Asr when they go home, so they won't be able to miss. They won't be missing the third prayer of the day. So we've said only lunchtime. And there was a small little issue when the time changed from 12 to 12:30, because initially the year 11s and year 10s had lunch at 12 o'clock, and because of the exams we had to change it to 12 till 12:30 for their lunch. But again, the senior leadership team said, look, we're going to give them that 5 extra minutes in order for them to pray to get to their lessons.
Yes, honestly, I'm just. What's your thoughts, Julie? I think it's amazing.
I do. I think it's. You hear these stories. I mean, I haven't seen any so far in the news this Ramadan, but there's always prior, particularly over the hot summer months, the long summer fast. You know, there were schools that were attempting to stop, to forbid children from fasting. And you know, for taking prayer rooms out of, you know, there's often things in the news about universities taking out prayer rooms and schools removing prayer rooms and students having to pray in their car parks and stuff like that. And this is just completely opposite. Completely opposite, and it's just so much. It's a new story, isn't it?
I think it's to be honest, I think it's respect to the school for offering those facilities, and to the principal for allowing that to happen.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna on the notion of I mentioned other schools, and I've got quite a few messages. I'm just gonna read out from. I basically asked in a few local WhatsApp groups if anyone had any experiences of Islam with the workplace and schools and stuff like that. So I'm just going to read out. I got an amazing response, mashallah, and again, so positive. I'm absolutely overwhelmed and blown away with the level of positivity that people are experiencing, especially, as I said to you, Julie, earlier, that we've had quite negative conversations in the past. So to hear such a response today is amazing. So there's one sister now, she actually lives out in Harrogate, and she said, so you have to bear with me while I read these out, because I'm going to try not to read names of schools and children and so on. But she said that her children's primary school, they've arranged a prayer room. This is obviously primary school where, you know, it's probably even harder for the children in primary school age to keep up with their prayers and stuff, because they're just younger, they need the support of the parents. So to have an Islamic influence in the primary school is probably more important for them as well. And this sister said that her children's primary school have arranged a prayer room and also a place for them to rest or be quiet if they're fasting at lunchtime, and that she lives in a town where there's not many Muslims either, and that the school actually sent a message to the parents to ask if their kids wanted any further support in Ramadan, to let them know. So this is obviously, you know, Outward Academy is quite a diverse school, but this sister's coming from both a town and a school where that diversity isn't there, and still the school have acknowledged that it's Ramadan for her and her family. I have a sister from Middlesbrough, and she said that my work has let me leave half an hour early and let me go in late. They know I can't fast, but do this so that I can be home to prepare the iftar for the rest of the family. Sorry?
Slacker.
Thank you, Idris. That wasn't me. Okay. I have another sister who said that she used to go into her children's primary school and talk about Ramadan, and she did a talk for the teachers as well. And that when she was at uni, they would give her a packed lunch to have at Siri. And then the same sister is going on to say that when her children were at primary school, she spoke to the teachers about Islam and Ramadan, explained how fasting in Ramadan is for Allah and is like a spiritual boot camp. I like that. It's a spiritual, Ramadan is a spiritual boot camp where we focus on our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by denying ourselves things that are usually permitted, such as food and drink. And also it's a special time where we reconnect with the Quran and adapt our lives to be more good and conscious. That's from a sister in Darlington. From a sister in Middlesbrough, work colleagues were saying that the regulation of Ramadan is really strict. And she said, no, it's not. It's actually really peaceful. And they were just asking what will happen when you don't fast. And the children were explaining how it's to be in line with people who are poor, and they send food packages to poor countries. Just bear with me a second. I've got so many here.
Well, I was one of my members of staff. Next one was somebody I was working with the other day was asking me. It's like, well, if you get really thirsty or really hungry, can you just like have a cheat? And I'm like, no.
There's another sister in Middlesbrough. She said that the secondary school has been really great, sending out letters in advance about Ramadan, highlighting everything. And I can't read the whole letter because it's huge, but it begins with Ramadan 2023, the month of fasting. This is obviously from the school. I am aware that you and your family will start observing Ramadan, the month of fasting, in the last week of March this year, and the school would like to once again plan to support our fasting students. And it goes on to say how they will support the school and how they swapped PE for easier lessons, which is quite a big thing actually, isn't it? Because obviously when the children are fasting, if they have PE first lesson 9 o'clock in the morning, and then they fast, maybe it's something horrendous like cross country, and then they've got to obviously keep their fast for the rest of the day. I have another sister in Ingleby. She said, Alhamdulillah, everyone has been very accommodating. They have made sure the air conditioning is working properly so the students don't get dehydrated. So this is from a school, by the way, from a secondary school. They have arranged for prayer room and will let students use it as and when needed. Staff can arrange their working hours accordingly if they want to, with the approval from the manager. At the kids' school, a primary setting, they let them use the library to pray, and they've also made a Ramadan corner in their classroom with prayer mats and Ramadan books. And in my child's secondary school, they do have a prayer room, but also they have games room set up for them to use during lunchtime, which again is just kind of offering the children somewhere other than, the lunch hall, isn't it, to sit. Just bear with me. I have a lot to get through, and I'm going to try and get through them as quickly as I can. Lots of people have wished me a happy Ramadan this year, even ladies in the supermarket and my non-Muslim friends and family. I have seen lots of Ramadan things to buy in shops too, and I feel really, really happy and proud. That's from Lujane, it's 7. It's sorry, and from the mum it says, my English neighbours brought sweets and chocolates to my house and said happy Ramadan to me and my family. Najmuddin, age 7. I have a message here. So this lady is from Middlesbrough. My non-Muslim neighbour dropped a card through my letterbox. We were pleasantly surprised. It makes it special knowing that everyone around you is acknowledging Ramadan. So it's a card with a mosque and a moon on from one of her non-Muslim neighbours. Let's have a look. Should have read these out earlier. Alhamdulillah, my son's school has been fantastic this year. Being a Church of England school, they are allowing the kids to fast, which is a big thing because my children weren't allowed to fast in the Catholic school, in their primary school. The school wouldn't allow it. They have given the children their own Ramadan wall. We're allowing the kids to pray at lunch times before the clocks changed. And this has really encouraged the children to feel comfortable to pray in school in front of non-Muslims and has really helped them be proud that they are a Muslim. My son says it has helped him feel that his school and his friends respect his way of life. Alhamdulillah, mashallah, tabarakallah. And at work, this sister said that when some non-Muslim colleagues realized they were fasting, they put their food away. This happens a lot, doesn't it? When they realize that you can't eat, they feel very conscious themselves. And then we have another sister whose children go to a junior school, primary school. The school that my two boys go to allowed the Muslim boys and girls to pray at Zohar and Namaz at school on lunch times. They said they could pray in the library with the boys going first, then the girls praying after, and surplus were allowed to pray in the classroom too. Surplus, that means that many of them wanted to do it. This came after one of the mums emailed the school. You know what? This is all it takes. The mum emailed the school. You know, and then the school have allowed it. It just shows how easy it can happen. One of the mums emailed the school to see if it was allowed, but I thought it was so inclusive of them to allow this. They currently don't pray since the hour has changed because there isn't enough time for Zohar to be read at school, so they read it afterwards. But it was a lovely way for the school to accommodate our Muslim children, absolutely. And as that sister said, it was one email from one parent. I have a message from somebody who said that a dental school in Leeds sent a form out at the start of Ramadan for those wishing to take Eid off. How amazing. How many Muslims don't get to take off Eid? So this dental school actually emailed and said you can have the school off. Let's have a look. What else do I have? We had a great experience at the children's school. They go to, I can't mention that name. I don't want to mention school names or children's names. The kids have had activities to learn about Ramadan, and some Muslim children took in sweets and cupcakes to share with the whole class to express the happiness of Ramadan, which is lovely because they do that on Easter, don't they? And or Christmas time, they have Secret Santa and stuff. The school have been very supportive and encouraging. On one occasion, when kids were learning about Easter and colouring a picture of Jesus, who was on the cross, my daughter asked the teacher if she can learn about Ramadan after that. And the teacher responded, you can do it right now, and give all the Muslim children Ramadan colouring sheets, which again is just a lovely sentiment from the teacher. Another sister, bear with me, said, my workplace have let me work flexible hours to accommodate for Ramadan. As long as I do my hours, I can work anytime throughout the day, as long as I'm not missing my meetings. That's from a sister in Manchester. We're being listened to in Manchester, which is lovely. I have a message from, let's have a look, from somebody who works at James Cook at the hospital. And it says, this Ramadan, this is a message from the hospital to their member of staff. This year, Ramadan is expected to start on the date of March. To support our colleagues in this holy month of Ramadan, between 4 and 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. and 12:30 each day, the dining room in the staff restaurant at James Cook will be offering packs for colleagues to collect. The packs include a fruit, flapjack, a piece of fruit, a pint of milk, and a bottle of water to support them when their daily fasting has ended. So even places of work, not just schools, but even places of work. Let's have a look. I'm almost done. So this is from somebody in Middlesbrough. This is from a recent revert, actually, who obviously has children. The primary school have been very supportive towards my children. This is all new to them. This year is an experience, their first Ramadan. My daughter, who is 8 years old, didn't eat her dinner at school, so the school thought she wasn't very well. So my daughter explained that she wants to try Ramadan to help support her mum, and the school were amazed how much she knew and that she wanted to do it to support her mum, as going without food and drink is hard, and she waited to open her fast with me, the mum, and tried dates, as you mentioned, Shabana, for the first time. So I feel the support and love from my daughter wanting to fast off her own thoughts to support me. And obviously the school have supported that. And again, that whole kind of, trying dates for the first time. I have to admit, I didn't have any dates till I became a Muslim as well.
True.
It's definitely a Muslim thing. Another mum said, this was the email that I was talking about, where this mum said they have provided the library access to the children over lunch break and a place to pray. But with the children being young, it did cause disruption as the kids spent over 45 minutes of lesson time when they went to pray. I say clever kids, they've obviously just got out of algebra, maybe, haven't they? Last few. Alhamdulillah, everything is going well. I have just cooked for 5 of my neighbors a chicken curry with pea rice pakoras with mint sauce. They were also appreciative of it and were like, it must have been so hard with fasting. And I said, no, alhamdulillah, I'm used to it. And my place of work is understanding about me fasting as well. They say it must be hard to work around food. So this sister obviously works where food is. And I said, no, alhamdulillah, it's fine. And I think I have one left. I'm sure I have one left. Bear with me. I've lost. Oh, there it is. No. I am this is from a member of staff. I am part of a Ramadan support group for my students, and we share recipes, information, and provide support. There is a prayer room for us, and the Eid party is thrown on our behalf as well, and that's from the support of a local university. So I did read them very, very quick, but there were 2 positive to not be included in the show, and to hopefully encourage our listeners, as one of the messages said there, to just send that email. Send that email, have that meeting with your manager, speak to the school. Do you know it's Ramadan? If they say no, just say, can I tell you? Yeah. Can I tell you what it is? Can I share with you what maybe you can do? Or obviously, as yourself, Shabana, and yourself, Wahida, have done, you've organised that iftar for the school. Mamuna, as you have done, you've attended, and you've had an amazing time, and as Julie said, you'll remember that forever. You'll leave school, and alhamdulillah as well, year 11, at least you got to experience it before you left. That's a memory that will stay with you forever. Obviously for Shabana and Mahida, it's something you can grow on now. You've had this amazing experience, and you can add to it, and it can become what it needs to become next year, inshallah, and just keep growing.
And then be an example to other schools as well, of what they can actually do for their students.
True. On that note, as we end our show today, what advice would you give to anybody else listening who maybe works in a school environment or college or university? Where would you tell them to start? How would you tell them to do it?
I think the key thing is not to be afraid to ask the question. Whether if you're working in a school, a hospital, a council, is just ask the question. This is Ramadan, and are there any prayer facilities? Should we have a iftar dinner? And if you don't make that step, then nothing will change. You have to make that change for it to happen.
Yeah, they've got to request it, because if you just sit back and don't do anything, it's never going to happen. Yeah. So start with requesting it, and all we can do is request.
Yeah, you have to take the lead, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and others will follow. Can I just, before we end, can we just say thank you to the staff from Outward Academy Acklam, who obviously helped on the night as well, whether it was a principal, vice principal, whether it was members of staff. We, on the night, which I forgot to mention, was we had the teaching assistant and the librarian and her husband actually serve the food to the parents and the students as well, which they didn't need to, but they just wanted to help out on the night and help with the catering staff. And obviously say thank you to the catering staff for providing that food, because they did work obviously over their usual time to provide that food and make the food. So I just want to say thank you to everyone.
You just did. Okay, well, Jazakallah khair for taking time out of your weekend. I hope you have a nice Easter break, by the way.
Thank you for having us.
Not an Easter break, a Ramadan break. But I just want to say that I think it's amazing what you've both done for the school. I think your school has been amazing as well. I think the students have been amazing. I hope your information today has inspired other schools, other places of work, if they aren't already, to do the same. I hope our show today has maybe inspired just mums and parents to send that email, make that call, have that conversation. And don't even think that, well, Ramadan started this year, let's aim for next year. There is still Eid. There is 2 Eids. Still go into the school or place of work and say, look, Eid's coming up. Then there's another Eid. And, just keep people aware. And, as Muslims, we're known for giving. And not just giving food, which we're known for as well, but give information, give that dawah, be that example, and just share our beautiful religion with other people in any way we can, whether that be with an iftar, as one of the mums there said, she gave iftar to her neighbours, even though they're not fasting. Absolutely anything that you can do that just sends a nice message of Islam. Anything that you can do that makes practicing our religion easier for somebody else or yourself. Anything you can do, don't hesitate, especially in this month of Ramadan where the rewards are doubled. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. So jazakallah khair for your time, ladies. It was lovely to have you in. Lovely to listen to your story, to your achievements. Allah bless it for you. And I hope, inshallah, it just keeps growing for you.
Inshallah.
I hope it just keeps growing. And maybe as you can come back next year and invite us to your iftar as well.
Inshallah. You'll be on the list.
And tell us like that 200 people came and 300 people came and it just grows for you.
Inshallah.
You never know, maybe invite the radio program.
Yeah, we could do actually. Invite CVFM.
Yes,
If there's food.
it was like a banquet, believe me.
Yeah. It's school cake and custard, Idris. Not just any food. It's school cake and custard. It's worth going just for that. Mamuna, best of luck with your GCSEs. Allah make it easy for you, make you successful. And jazakallah khair for sharing your story of the iftar and your hijab and your journey through school as well. Jazakallah khair. Lovely to sit with you, ladies. Have an amazing Ramadan and amazing Eid. Julie, I will see you here this time next week.
Inshallah. Absolutely, yes.
So jazakallah khair for listening. Anything that we have said that is of good benefit is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and any mistakes or misguidance we have done unintentionally, please forgive us for doing so. Please stay tuned for the rest of Ramadan Radio Live, and Sisters Circle will be back with you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
رسول الله صلى الله على سيدنا صلى الله على إمام الأنبياء لا إله لا إله لا إله إلا الله لا إله لا إله لا إله إلا الله. Most merciful are you, King of all the kings, have ownership to all of each and everything. Indeed, I am your slave, created from the dust, a traveler in this world. I shouldn't feel such lost. La ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha illallah. La ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha illallah. You bless me with Islam. To me this is a gift. I'll start deep in my heart, or it may lead me by drift. This world is not my home. About this I must learn. It's from you that I came, and to you I shall return. La ilaha, la ilaha, la ilaha illallah. La ilaha la ilaha la ilaha illallah. At times when I'm in pain, at times when I can't cope, when calling out your name, my heart is filled with hope. When life for me is dark, you sprinkle me with light. As long as I shall live, always I will recite La ilaha la ilaha la ilaha illallah. La ilaha.
So, let's talk about you. Actually, let's talk about me, just for a bit, because I was like you. In 40 odd years, I hadn't done much exercise, but I knew I had to start. So, I got the Couch to 5K app. From not being able to run for more than a minute, 9 weeks later, I was running for half an hour. It's simple, it's free, and it's all planned out. With a little support, it's amazing what your body can do. Join thousands of monthly users. Download the free 1U Couch to 5K app now, because there's only one you.
They say there are only two certainties in life, death and taxes. Here at Chauhan & Singh, your local chartered accountants, we can't help you with the first, but taxes is something we know a lot about. With nearly 50 years in business, we have the expertise and knowledge to help businesses of all sizes and sectors. We offer a comprehensive range of accountancy and tax services. Our team has expertise in annual accounts, payroll, VAT returns, and a range of personal services such as wills and inheritance planning. So, whether it's payroll, account management, or tax planning, you can rely on Chauhan & Singh, Chartered Accountants.
Chauhan & Singh, 81 Borough Road, Middlesbrough. Telephone number 01642 244 090. Visit our website for more information, www.chauhanandsingh.co.uk.
Time for a change? Looking for that home improvement? Borough Carpets has you covered. We offer a wide range of luxurious carpets, vinyls and laminates. We offer a free fitting and underlay included to give you the great quality at affordable prices. We cater for lots of different preferences, whether you want that perfect soft touch carpet for your new home, need to freshen up your rental property, or even a change in the office. We also provide free measurements before you book your fitting for accuracy and to discuss exactly what you're looking for. Call us on 01642 688 786 or to see our variety of amazing samples, pop down to our Middlesbrough showroom located at 131 to 133 Park Lane.
Hello, Ellie here. Let me introduce you to Smoothprint.
Whether you need business cards, brochures for your startups, or posters to announce your grand opening, perhaps design a logo to further promote your business, we can do it all and much more in a record time and at affordable prices.
Smoothprint is your local professional design and print business specializing in shop signage and vehicle graphics.
Our team of professional graphic designers will ensure that your corporate image and values are shown in a memorable, charming way, while the state-of-the-art digital printing technology we use will impress your business partners and potential customers and will add to your competitive edge.
Smoothprint. Telephone 01642 688 400 or order online at www.smoothprint.co.uk.
You probably think you're pretty good at multitasking behind the wheel. I mean, you have to multitask to drive. So what's wrong with checking your phone? The thing is, your brain simply for quick reply, affects your concentration, and makes you less able to react to hazards. If you use a mobile phone while driving, you're 4 times more likely to crash. Think. Put your phone away.
This is your local community station, 104.5 CVFM.
مرادي